Hello, my beautiful people. I actually wasn't going to jump on here and do a visual video, but I have to show off my earrings that I just made. So I've kind of just been in, I love it. I love the color combinations and all that. I'm very proud of myself, which sometimes this kind of stuff I do end up jacking it up and having to fix it and it keeps twisting. So I'm still going to have to do that. I like this as an evolution because usually I'm, making jewelry and I've done that since I was a teenager, but now I got into actually more of the clips that go in the hair than the earrings, but I decided to make earrings today. Okay, so I have in a way been quiet and missing in action because I just got back from visiting my dad in Alabama, which is for another show that I'm going to talk about. There's definitely a lot of things to talk about. It wasn't super eventful. Let's just say overall, though, it was really forcing me to be content with doing nothing, which is kind of what happens in that town since there's not a whole lot to do. But I will catch up back on that probably later this week because there's a sense of basically feeling like not talking, feel like talking, but not talking, if that makes sense. And sometimes, like I say, there's a lot of words, and even I don't even want to talk as much as I do sometimes. So I'm just kind of feeling at peace and contentment. And like today, for an example, it's beautiful outside, and I would normally even go outside, and I probably still will, but I'm just being content watching my shows, which is what I'm going to talk about today. So it's funny to come back from this trip, and this is what I want to talk about, probably because it doesn't require a whole lot of me taking notes, because I also wanted to talk about a Netflix movie review, but I'm not going to do that. So, what I wanted to say that I haven't talked about this before, I think I've done one mini show on paranormal talk, and then I've done a couple of, I call them variety shows that talk about the paranormal, right? Things outside of the norm, specifically supernatural or esoteric or whatever, which I've always been interested in, in more so of the light, of course, but also intrigued by dark stuff because I think there's a sense why a lot of people as well are intrigued more so for entertainment value because it's definitely not something to mess around with, is maybe people trying to um, prove darkness exists, maybe, or prove the existence of God. I'm not really sure, or who God is to them, or things that can sound really fantastical to us, and um, depending on how you were raised and how you view your reality, right? So you're going to have certain beliefs based on your experiences. So, what I'm bringing up is that, so I don't know how I found this guy, but basically, it must have been from another podcast. Anything that I see paranormal, I get into. And so, even for myself, I don't know that I need to hear any more stories of exorcisms and things like that. It's just an intrigue. So, he basically wrote a book that's going to be coming out. I think it's called like The Unwelcoming or something. And it's the story of, I think her name is Clara Fowler. Sorry if I'm not getting it correct, but basically it intrigued me because it's from basically 1898, I think it is, that it went on till 1904. Excuse me, some time period in there, and it's very intriguing so far. Um, Even though in all his interviews he's just talking about it, he's not giving tons of details, but it sounds interesting so far in the way it connects with everything. And he was also talking about, it's funny, he's taken jujitsu. He also was a sheriff and he transported a lot of criminals, and that's what he was talking about. He can confirm that evil truly exists, especially since some of the people that he talked to, like people killing 80 people and torching, he said, some girl in a park and he said it was fun and he would do it again. These people that he was meeting, it confirmed for him that like truly evil exists. And I think that's also my fascination as much as I've studied in holistic therapies and what I believe to be true, and have found another investigator who used to be a cop that vibrationally, right, we can attract negative energies and negative things to us with our emotions and with law of attraction, right? So that has also intrigued me, but I never knew the truth of it. I was like, I wonder if we can attract um, things to us in that way. Meaning, I'm going to say specifically, if you are having a low point in your life, or something tragic happens in your life, or something like that, where you are in a weak state, we've heard of this before, you are more susceptible, more vulnerable to things coming into your world, right? In your space. But I had not known and only just thought about how emotions affect this, all of this, right? So I think the book, this is April, it's Cinco de Mayo. It's Cinco de Mayo. And I think the book is going to be coming out in a few weeks. And I may just get it on Audible, because now these days when it comes to reading, I just procrastinate and lag on just another area of my life that every day I strive to stop doing. I'm doing okay. So I guess what I wanted to say in this video, because I'm spending my Sunday doing this, and gonna review the other Netflix. I wanted to start a list on my movie reviews, whether they are past movies that I've watched, right, and maybe I have a different opinion of them, or new things. This current one, I'm going to talk a little bit about, probably just really short, called Baby Reindeer. It's a true story, stalker story, and I want to talk about revealing and how to be authentic. Remember, I am the how. So even if there was something you admired in somebody, or whatever it is, well, I'm not going to give that example because that doesn't have to do with the story, but basically being vulnerable and facing judgment, right? The fear of facing judgment. So I'm going to talk about that. But yes, this is what currently I'm trying to, I'm fascinated by it. I know he said it's a story of basically murder. Satanic cult, of course, is involved, because I think this woman's husband was heavily involved in it, and she actually wanted to be a nun, so she was very religious. So, pretty much, without talking too much, as you can tell, I kind of want to talk, but not, is that coming back from Alabama, this is like what I wanted to talk about. But there's definitely, you know how I create a story out of anything. I'm going to talk about my experience with this person who is my stepmom's friend's husband. It's very comedic, like a Will Ferrell movie. I got to meet the neighbors that I wanted to meet across the street. My dad's lived there like 20 years. He's on like an acre and a half, and it's really beautiful, like greenery. It's only like 5 minutes from like the main highway, you know, where you can still get basically gas and go to Walmart and things like that. But it's really pretty area, southern Alabama, that he picked there for cost of living. And I will talk about that, and how I thought I was going to write more, but I didn't. And I always think about that, writing my best pieces. And I really have not sat down and really focused on that. And also, I may do a mini show on the immigration topic, the light topic of that, which also my dad and I were talking about, and how he is talking about how if he were me, he'd be doing a podcast. He doesn't do podcasts, but if he were me and I was me, he would be talking about it. So just kind of, I don't even follow a lot of that stuff, and I think it stresses him out, definitely. And I tell him to stop watching it, and at least when he's dead, he doesn't have to worry about these issues. So that show, that will basically be about, like, do we want to stay ignorant? So I'm going to try to keep that layman's terms, simple to the point, how does it affect us, right? And do we want to educate ourselves or just stay ignorant of real life issues that are going to be affecting us, like having the right to choose if we want to pay for somebody else's education, people coming into the country with no background checks. So that means terrorists are coming in. So I'm going to dive deep on just a little bit of do a little bit of research and not dive too deep because I just want to get straight to the point. So, other than that, people, yes, there's a little bit more that I guess I want to talk about, but not too much today. And I'm going to follow the story because I'm intrigued, because there is still something I want to learn. He's probably something I might try to get a hold of to ask him some questions as far as confirming evil sorts of things, because I have my own beliefs, even in the sense of who we are born into this world, as in, um, I guess to say the perfect beings that we are. But then sometimes I'm like, I don't know, this past life thing has a huge factor depending on what you believe, since I already believe in that. And then again, like I've talked about before with soul contracts and trying to make sense of these things. And even if anybody were to explain that we have soul contracts, I mean, that's just wild to even think. So you made a soul contract in this life to be murdered by somebody or to be experienced this and that, whatever, and it's for your soul. All of it is the truth that I found so far is, number one, a lot of this is to test our sense of reality, what we thought to be true, right? To fuck with our head, I almost feel like. And even if it is the soul's journey, it's still like all these things we're going through, like it can make us more bitter, right? Even if we were supposed to experience certain things of the six senses that they say, and all these things that I've read. So definitely when I feel like I've got it and that I understand parts of this existence here, then something else crazy and wild happens to challenge it. But I can definitely see and have from my own experiences that a lot of things have happened where definitely it can make me bitter and want to give up on certain areas that I am working on in my life. And I just read that Mother Teresa saying, very lengthy saying. Okay, so I'll talk to you next time, people. And there's a lot more stuff that I wanted to talk about, but we'll see as time goes, because sometimes when it's not fresh in my mind, then I will just let it go. And I guess it didn't need to be said at this time. And most importantly, too, what I think is definitely affecting my attitude. And I think I need to talk on it more and vent, as in this is my therapy, is my sister in Thailand, who is not doing well. And yeah, not doing well. So I may be seeing her for the last time, and things that I'm going to have to do with that. And that is in Thailand, which I haven't been in like 20 years, and I have not seen her in like 15 to 20 years. There is a language barrier. And she probably won't be talking very much at all, since it's really basically life support that she's on with a feeding tube. Okay, so I will talk to you next time, and that probably subconsciously accounts for still me having for my attitude and my energy these past couple days. So there are things going on with that. So I'll talk to you when I talk to you next time. Bye.